Adults of Reddit, what is something that sucks about being an adult that most teenagers don't realize? The adult part. The moment you need to pay for everything, and the realization that fresh food spoils faster than you ever noticed before was eye-opening. Honestly, I swear I buy a thing of strawberries and they expire the next day. It's goddamn criminal. Edit, till everyone knows how to keep strawberries fresh but me. You can count your friends on one hand and most of those have been grandfathered in. It's not just that it's more difficult to make friends, but you're also less willing to keep people in your life that don't add value. Hit 30 and you'll be ready to light some bridges on fire. For me it's watching my parents get old. As a teenager I thought they were all about keeping me restricted and controlled. Now I realize they are just two people who never had a kid before, did the best they knew how, and ducked up at times like all other humans on the planet. I never realized how much I needed them emotionally until I saw my father through his open heart surgery and saw Parkinson's take my mother's independence. So here I'm still feeling like a teenager on the inside, staring down the barrel of 50, wondering what the hell happened. Edit, thank you for the awards. Yeah, starting to relate to your parents as people in their own right rather than just your parents is such a weird switch. You start seeing things in context. They didn't drive you to that party because they were absolutely knackered from work. Not because they wanted to ruin your life. They didn't give you the cash for that new outfit because they needed to budget and the car's insurance renewal that month etc etc. My dad's dad died when he was very young, and it took me a long time to realize that sometimes when he ducked up it was because he didn't actually have a father figure growing up. And he didn't really know how to be a dad and was kind of figuring things out as he went along. One day, my mother was giving me a lift home from university and helping me move some possessions. My grandfather was in his late 80s and they'd had a brief row over something. It's important to note that they are very close and this was highly unusual for them, and it was nothing major. Just the sort of conversation that leaves you rolling your eyes, muttering patience to yourself, gritting your teeth, and wondering why doesn't this incredibly sensible person get that? Can't remember for the life of me what it was over. He'd said something cantankerous that was irritating and a little selfish in the way that some older people can occasionally be, and she vented for a short time, letting off some steam. I was in my 20s, finishing university, and it was the first time I think that I'd been in a position with my parents to relate to a fellow adult and about adult problems, rather than be the kid they tried not to burden. Discipline is very hard to maintain when you are lacking purpose. When you are a teenager there's so much you think you can achieve. It'll get into that college. It'll get that degree. It'll land that cool job after. It'll date that person who will fulfill me. However, what happens when those things fail and you have to readjust? What if the idea of progress turns into an idea of just sustainment? My advice to teenagers, the most important thing you need to work towards figuring out as you enter into early adulthood is your purpose. It can change over time of course, but never be without it. But what happens when those things fail and you have to readjust and the idea of progress turns into an idea of just a sustainment? Alternatively, what happens when you do all those things and realize you're still not fulfilled? That's when you realize you truly made it to adulthood. The repetition makes you lose time. Having the same job, workout regimen, schedule in general makes days blend into one another. Edit, autocorrect. Should have said workout instead of without. Bland to blend. Regime to regiment. To regime. My god. Did I spell anything correctly? Exclamation mark. Question mark. Edit. Thanks for all the replies. I just want to point out I didn't mean life becomes boring. I was just talking about lack of those major separators we had as children like summer vacation, new school, your first kiss, etc. Due to those major separators missing I don't recall if I did something a year ago or 3 years ago. It's a little blurry if something happened 2 weeks ago or 4 months ago. This is because once you have a career and a home you're doing a lot of similar things most days. Work, chores, cooking, hobbies, etc. This is why the days start to blend into one another, at least in your memory. When days turn into weeks that glide into months, I will try to introduce some variation to my scheduling. It becomes an interesting day when I get home via a different route. Otherwise I'll just burn out. Days drag but the months fly by. There's never enough time for all the things you need to do. Definitely not enough time for the things you want to do. I would add to this that even if you had the hours in the day, you still won't have the time because it takes energy and motivation to do things, and sometimes you just don't have enough of that either. When I was a kid, I wanted a magic stopwatch to stop time and do whatever I wanted. As an adult I think of using that magic stopwatch, but for taking naps throughout the day without interrupting my workflow. Planning dinner every damn night. The pain. Bodies start breaking down. Not just pain, also slower healing. I used to heal like Wolverine. Now I can count a healing paper cut by paychecks. You are always cleaning the kitchen. Never ends, does it? Exclamation mark. Sometimes 3 times a day if it's been busy. FFS. You know, all those things you thought you would do when you were out on your own. They cost money and you have to work for it. Aside from sleep, lol. Saturday rolls around and I'm like, yes, I'm gonna sleep in. Exclamation mark. 7 AM and my body is like, okay, that's enough for you, time to do laundry. I miss being a kid and sleeping till noon. For me the alarm goes off and I immediately grumble, it's Saturday, and shut it off. Then 30 minutes later I realize it's not Saturday. That ordering food is actually expensive and your parents weren't lying to you. Those Cokes you guys ordered were $3 each and there's 5 of you. That's $15 just in soft drinks, and we could have bought 12 packs for that. Next time everybody's getting water. Always prepare for the worst. Keep seeing more people that fought hard for their dream job. Now they're miserable. My dad lucked the duck out by not taking his dream job. He loves cars and was offered his dream job at Ford when he got out of college. He toured the place and saw how specialized it was and realized he couldn't possibly stand out and would been bored in a week. He took an engineering job at a much smaller company for less pay, but had a much larger variety of things to do and made much more of an impact on the company. Fast forward to today and he has a business job as the president of a section of a company that makes parts for missiles and planes. He loves what he does and never thought he would be where he is now. TL. Doctor, dad got off a dream job, toured the place and hated it, took out the job and is now in unexpected, well-paying business job that he loves very much. Your dream job isn't always it. It's really annoying how much time is involved with food. As a teenager you don't really have to think about food much, but as an adult you have to shop for food and prepare it. You can eat at a restaurant, but that will get old after a while, assuming you can afford frequent dining out. My whole day is food. Breakfast for the kids. Snacks. Lunch. Snacks. Dinner. Meal planning. Grocery shopping. Making lists of things we need. For someone on a diet it is torture to constantly be consumed with food. We don't have kids. The amount of time I spend planning meals, shopping for them, and prepping for the week for 2 people is embarrassing. I'm not talking multi-course meals or beef Wellington on a Tuesday. This is just to make sure I have healthy weeknight meals, quick healthy breakfast for each morning, and maybe something a little fancier on Sunday. Every week I say out loud to no one in particular that I have no ducking clue how parents do it. How do you manage to feed kids anything, let alone healthy home cooked meals, while getting them to school, activities, and going to work? Being lonely. Making friends as an adult is difficult. Sometimes verging on impossible. You don't see people in your age group who are doing the same things you are every day anymore. Yeah. And it doesn't get better. I'm 46. My wife is really my only friend anymore. I have people I still keep in contact, but there's no one I really hang out with anymore or go to things with. I have some work acquaintances that I do things with sometimes, but the days of a true friend are pretty much over. Good thing my wife and I get along well. Edit. I should clarify. First, thank you for the advice, everyone. I'm sure some people can use this, but second, I never said I'm unhappy with my situation. My wife and I get along very well, and I love my life. I was merely commenting that finding friends that are worth your time gets harder as you get older. Not that I'm depressed about it or desire to fix it. My wife got great job offers and we've moved twice in the last 6 years. My friend group is back in KC. L left 1 or 2 back in McAllen TX. And have just about given up here in Northeast Georgia. I'm 52 and too damn tired to find more at this point, I guess. Even though February is the shortest month, the rent is still the same. Yeah, but if you're salaried the paycheck doesn't have to last as long. I make like 10% more per day in February. You can do whatever you want, but most of the time you either have commitments that prevent it, or you can't afford it. You can do whatever you want, but you don't feel like it anymore. Open bracket. If teenage me knew that 40-year me has a virtual reality headset I almost never use, he'd cut our dick off out of spite. Edit. Reddit gold is a waste of money. You come home from work and you're tired, and if you don't feel like making dinner, then you're not eating dinner. Seriously, I was not prepared for how much of a pain in the ass it was going to be to keep myself fed throughout the day. Like, how does everyone manage it? You're at a time in your life when you see your friends almost every day at school. That should be cherished, because it's vastly simpler than maintaining friendships as you enter adulthood and you don't have that constant contact. Life as an adult is change, most of it outside of your control. People change, circumstances shift, all of that work you put into your adult friendships can vanish in an instant, and you just have to adapt and move on. This is why I'd go $20k in debt for college again. Your entire life is people your own age, living in the same place, for 4 years. It's not comparable to anything else. I'm a decade out now and still miss that aspect of it. People are just down for spontaneous plans. When you're 30 it takes an act of God and 2 months planning to get more than 4 people together. And I say this as a lucky person who still has a wide social circle at age 30. I can't imagine moving to a new city at this age and trying to make new friends from scratch. When something goes wrong or something unexpected happens, there's no one else to deal with it. Plugged toilet? You gotta clear it. Car out of gas? You gotta fill it. Run out of clean undies? You gotta do laundry. From small things to massive things, there's no one to make it go away but you. This didn't fully hit me until I had to clean a massive amount of puke out of the shower because I took a shower while I was sick and just absolutely lost my guts. Being a kid, someone else would have cleaned that up for me because I was sick. But as an adult, with a crazy high fever feeling absolutely terrible, I had to get on my knees and clean it up. There was no I don't feel good excuse. No, someone else can do it. I had to clean it up, or it would get even more disgusting and clog my pipes. Tips for this from a mom who has cleaned lots of gnarly stuff. Smear a bit of Vicks Vapor Rub on the skin under your nose. It helps cut the smell. See my edit below. If you're wearing glasses, consider removing them. Making the world slightly fuzzy might be preferable to being able to see the distinct details of every puke chunk. Use a dustpan, paper plate, or folded newspaper to remove solids. Try not to use the dust brush. It will be hard to clean. Instead, use a piece of cardboard or another paper plate to scrape up the mess. For carpet, shake some baking soda onto any remaining liquid stain, covering it completely. Let it sit for about 15 minutes to soak up as much of the liquid as possible. Then vacuum. If you have kids and or a dog or cat, it might be worthwhile to invest in a steam cleaner. They do sell handheld versions if your home is small. Addition. Thanks for the awards. You are too kind. Now PLZ stop. Edit. For the Vicks thing. I've been alerted by Cheddarfish6 that you really don't want to get that stuff inside your nose, and never put it on a little kid's face. I'm still going to use it. BC, I put just a dab on the outside, never the inside. But please read this before you do it. But please read this before you do it. Link. reversityonline.com/health/_reference/cold/flu/Vicks Vapo. Rub an effective nasal decongestant. CFM. Forgetting your age is a real problem. The only people who remind me how old I am are my kids, and I often have to double check. I used to ask my parents how old they were, and they always can't remember, or said 21, and it confused me. I get it now. I was born in early January 2000 and my mom told me that's the best gift she could given me cause that will I won't struggle to remember my age when I get older. On the flip side, it's kinda scary to be reminded exactly how long I've lived every time I look at the calendar. On the topic of getting older, me wondering why the hell there are kids born after 2000 on my Reddit. Then realizing you're a legal adult about to be able to drink. Dental care. It's so damn expensive if you let your teeth degrade. Please floss my dudes. Edit. My mother has worked in dental for over 30 years and comes home with horror stories. Stop talking out your asses. Ignore your teeth and they'll go away. Apostrophe. Sign on my dentist's office wall. A $1,000 paycheck isn't nearly as exciting as an adult. I remember getting a $650 paycheck when I was 15 and thinking, why do I need to go to high school anymore? I can just keep doing this lol. I used to be a nanny for this one kid and kept in contact with the family over the last few years. When he started working at 17 last year, he would Snapchat me pictures of his $600 paychecks and tell me all the things he would buy with the stuff and how he was ballin'. Apostrophe. I would cringe inside. One day your body will betray you. Edit. This blew up faster than my kneecap. I hurt my back from bending over in an awkward position to brush my wife's hair. When all the cliches that used to piss you off start making sense and meaning something, but you can't explain it to younger people because they haven't lived that life experience yet. You'll understand when you're older. Pissed me off so much when I was a kid. Now that I understand it, I'm even more pissed off that I say this. When you go from relating to SpongeBob to relating to Squidward. The importance and scarcity of time, your you time, gets seriously reduced as you get older and your other responsibilities mount up. I used to think that spending half an hour cleaning 3 times a week was the worst thing ever. Now I spend about an hour cleaning pretty much every day. Between work, maintaining a house, and raising kids, the amount of you time gets reduced to minutes a day. Anything else you want to do means sacrificing sleep. The other thing is how true time equals money actually is. Simply existing and breathing costs money. Food, rent, bills, transport cost money. Often the difference between happiness and unhappiness for me was comfortably making it to my next paycheck. Waking up and just aching for non-discernible reason other than having slept a bit funny. Oh. And the 3-day hangovers that make it barely worth drinking more than a couple glasses of wine. Money adds up quick. You see something cheap that you want as a teen and think it's only $5. Yes, it is only $5. But when the end of the month comes, all those only purchases add up really fast. People expect you to know what you're doing. That you had no idea what you were talking about when you were a teenager. Sometimes I reread my 2 for yo comments and get a little cringe trip. Everything you buy starts to own you. Got a new car? You now have to make a monthly payment. Buy insurance. Fill with gas. Get inspected. Change the oil. Apply for a street parking permit. ECT. Just bought a house. Well, on top of your mortgage, insurance and property taxes, you now have to mow your lawn. Clean the building. Maintain all of your appliances. Repair damages when they are small, so you don't have to spend as much. Possibly follow HOA rules. ECT. I just wanna get drunk and play video games. But I can't because my refrigerator broke 2 days ago. And there's a shortage of fridges because of COVID. So I had to borrow my college-aged cousin's mini fridge. So now I'm on back order for 3 weeks waiting for something I just spent $2,500 on to arrive. Edit. A lot of people are bringing up the cost of the fridge. I'm paying for a high quality fridge that's pretty big because my household needs that along with shipping and install. I'm not happy about the price either, but that was the quickest delivery option I had for something that fits my needs while also fitting the look of my kitchen. Normally I'd wait for a holiday sale to get a big appliance, but this was an emergency and delete the cost for convenience sake. I can afford the cost of the fridge and am not going to go into the hole over this amount. But I'd rather spend that money on almost anything else. Like I said, not a lot of things in stock during this pandemic. You don't fundamentally change. You are still you. Even if you are older, it's the same you. You just need to survive in the adult world. You don't gain adult powers. You just have to do adult things. I swear when I was a teenager I could eat absolute garbage and stay slim because I was just naturally active throughout the day. Now being an adult I'm fat as duck because after a full day at work and other adulting responsibilities it's so hard to get the motivation to work out. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.